So we're finally here, NHL 25, and I want to give a big thanks to EA for giving me early access to the game, and I think it's only fitting for our first video, we rebuild the worst team in the NHL, the San Jose Sharks, a team that just got the first overall pick in Macklin Celebrini, starting off as an 82 overall with 2 X factors, medium league potential of course, he's looking to be a star in the future. This San Jose Sharks team, they did a couple things over the offseason, of course, bringing in Tower Toffoli, they brought in Alex Wenberg, they claimed Barclay Goodrow off of waivers, but really this team is bad, and I think that's no surprise. This team right here is not going to be competing for a Stanley Cup just yet, but we're going to make some big time moves here. We're going to rebuild the San Jose Sharks team, and over the next 5 years, we're going to turn them into Stanley Cup champs. Now, there's a lot of new things in NHL 25, and if I test out anything, absolutely not. We're going to be figuring out everything on the fly here. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set season goals for one of our players, and that player has to be Macklin Celebrini. So we're going to start with some season goals, and of course, we're focused on long term here, the growth of this team. We could do something really simple, just having him play on the roster the entire season. That's already a given. We're going to set a stat challenge for Celebrini this season, and I want to try something that's going to be fairly realistic for him. And I'm not going to lie, based on what my options are, none of these are super realistic for him. He's not going to be a 40 assist man, he's not going to be a 50 assist man, and he's certainly not going to be a 30 goal scorer this season, so I don't think any of these are very reasonable for him. So how about we just set an award challenge for Celebrini this season, and that's taking home the Calder, something that's very possible for him to do. So that's the challenge for Macklin Celebrini this season, to win the Calder. Now I'm not going to go through every single player here because this would take a very long time having a conversation with every single player, so I'm just going to be talking to Celebrini for season number 1, and we're going to go ahead and make some trades. Now of course, one of the new additions in NHL 25 is going to be the no trade clauses, the modified no trade clauses. Now this is going to make rebuilds a lot more difficult because I can't just go ahead and ditch Logan Couture's contract. I mean, technically I could still trade him away, but one of these 3 teams has to be interested in him: the Anaheim Ducks, Calgary Flames, or Columbus Blue Jackets. And I'm not going to lie, getting rid of Logan Couture is actually going to be very easy because I can definitely ship him over to the Anaheim Ducks, and they're actually interested in him. He fits their trade block, so we're going to make a deal with the Ducks here. So just looking at the Anaheim Ducks roster, there actually really isn't many players I want here. Like Karagosha would be great if he fit on any line, not the 3rd line, because I don't want him playing bottom 6 minutes. Another guy I was interested in was Mason McTavish, but he only fits on the 4th line, and once again, that doesn't really make sense. Also, we have to upgrade Mason McTavish's potential. It can't be sitting at high top 6. Bro needs to have at least medium elite. So maybe we won't be making a deal with the Anaheim Ducks, but the Calgary Flames, we could probably pull something off. Like bringing in a young player like Jake Bean actually makes a lot of sense for us. 1.75 for the next 2 years. He's an 83 overall, only 26 years old. He's going to keep on getting better here. And then we also get rid of the Logan Couture contract. So honestly, I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm going to send this package over. They're going to be saying no, but the real question that we have heading into NHL 25, the most important thing for NHL 25, lucrative 7th round picks. Are they still a thing here? So I'm going to include a 7th round pick into this deal, offered over. They're going to be saying no. We'll do 2 7th round picks. If we get this done with 2 7th round picks, that means the lucrative 7th round pick is still around here. I'm going to offer this over. The lucrative 7th round pick is still alive. You'll love to see it. So if I'm being completely honest, for the San Jose Sharks, year number 1 is all about the tank here. This is not going to be a good team, and I think we're all well aware of that. But if we somehow get another 1st overall pick, we can bring in another great prospect. A lot of the young guys will continue to develop here, but until then, it's a competitive tank here. We're not trying to lose games, but we're not necessarily trying to win games. Before we get into this season though, the coaches wanted to have a quick talk with us, so you know what, we're going to set some expectations here, make the playoffs. I'd be setting Bro up for failure if I said that, so I'm not going to be telling him to make the playoffs here. Let's just focus on the preseason. I don't really care what we do during the preseason. However, we can set some focuses for the preseason, and there's one focus that I'm very interested in. It's this one right here, and the main reason I'm interested in it, defensive awareness goes up and offensive awareness goes up. In previous NHL games, these 2 stats have been by far the most important. So if we can focus on those and get defensive awareness up and offensive awareness, that's going to speed up the rebuild a ton here. Now I guess the other big question I have is how fast is the simulation speed? In previous NHL games, it hasn't necessarily been super fast, but in NHL 24, it wasn't necessarily really slow. So we're going to find out how fast is the simulation speed. It seems pretty similar to NHL 24. Now things are certainly going according to plan for the San Jose Sharks, 2nd last in the entire league, a 23, 36, and 5 record. But I want to point out the Buffalo Sabres. How are you guys worse than us? Like, what's going on in Buffalo? That team just continues to be a massive disappointment. Tower Toffoli, 61 points so far. Mikael Granlund's got 52. Celebrini, so far in your rookie season, you're not looking too bad. You got 49 points so far, 13 goals, 36 assists, up to an 88 overall already. We're not even done the season and Bro's up to an 88 overall. Just because of that, William Eklund, I'm curious about you, and where are you up to? 84 overall? Not gonna lie, I was expecting a bit more. When it comes to goaltending numbers, I know for a fact he's gonna be absolutely cooked. Vanacek, Blackwood, do what you can. But since we're at the trade deadline, we might as well do a bit of selling here. Let's see what we can pick up. Now this is very disappointing. One guy I was thinking about picking up was Pavel Zacha. We need a power forward on this team, and you know what? He fits the role. However, we're not going to be able to pick up Pavel Zacha because we're we're one of the teams on his 10-team no trade clause. Very unfortunate here. Am I surprised though? Not really. So we weren't able to get a deal done with the Boston Bruins, but this is an interesting one right here. Seth Jarvis from the Carolina Hurricanes. He just signed an 8-year contract with the Hurricanes, 87 overall, but his no trade clause doesn't kick in till year 5 of the deal. So we're able to trade for him right now, and that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to bring in Jarvis, we're going to bring in Gunler. I think we'll be able to get this deal done. I'm going to send that over there saying no. How many picks do you want? Like, I don't think it's really going to cost us that many picks. So here's a 3rd rounder from the Colorado Avalanche, and is that going to be enough to be the difference? They're going to be saying no to that. How about 2 3rd rounders? We have an Edmonton Oilers 3rd round pick, and I'm definitely willing to trade that away, so I'll add that into the deal. And just like that, Seth Jarvis is going to be joining the team. He's going to be a great addition to our forward core here. So I've circled back to Mason McTavish because I've changed my mind a little bit. Although he doesn't fit in our top 6, more than likely the coach we have right now probably won't be our coach next season or the year after. So a guy like Mason McTavish might be useful, and he might fit our new coach. So I'm going to trade away 2 prospects and a 2nd round pick. Mason McTavish and 2 3rd round picks are going to be acquired here. But Mason McTavish has already been traded, or a 3rd round pick's already been traded? It looks like the 3rd round pick was traded away. I was getting a bit nervous. I thought somebody made a move for Mason McTavish, but it looks like it's going to be the San Jose Sharks making that move. So those are going to be the only moves for year number 1 here. We're just focused on the future, and with all the moves we made, we're definitely setting ourselves up for a lot of success. Rasmus Ristolainen bring you to the team for the next 3 years? Absolutely not. We're not doing that. So there aren't that many players here that I do want to give extensions to, and I don't think we actually have to go into a negotiation yet. So I'm just going to see what Bordelot is looking for. 1.3 for the next couple years here. So how about we do 1.325 million for the next 3 years here? I think that's a pretty fair deal for him. And then Klim Kostin, I'll go into a negotiation with you just so we can test it out here. So we're going to go in here, try to charm Klim Kostin. Of course, it's going to work. He wants to sign a new deal with the team. So let's just immediately start working on a contract. I know he's only looking for a 2-year contract, but let's just offer him a 3. Let's see what he's thinking when it comes to a 3-year contract. So he's willing to accept a 3-year contract, but he's looking for 1.7 million per season. Like, honestly, I'm okay with 1.7 million, but what if we try to do a more team-friendly deal? Would you be willing to do that? So he's open to negotiating the contract here. How much do we want to take off his salary? Obviously, we can't do like $1 million or anything ridiculous, but how about 250K? Would you be willing to take 250K less? Now, Klim Kostin, he's appreciating the discussion we're having. He's open to going back and forth, but he doesn't want to take 250K less per season. And honestly, I don't blame him. But you know what? I'm going to put my foot down here. I refuse to give you anything less. That's the final offer. Are you willing to come back to the team or not? So we're just going to stand firm right now. Whether or not Klim Kostin comes back to the team, we're going to find out in the future. I mean, I could just offer him a contract extension right now, but you know what? We're just going to stay back here and we're going to let the negotiations do themselves. I guess the real question was I cooking there? I mean, using Klim Kostin as an example probably wasn't the best in the world, considering he was only asking for 1.6 million or 1.4 million, whatever it was. We'll try to do some more cooking in free agency and we'll see what happens there. Okay, I'm officially convinced that the simulation is slower. This is taking forever to do the final 15 games. I don't know why it's going so slow, but the simulation is just not responding right now. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that continues into the later seasons. So to finish up the season, the San Jose Sharks didn't look bad, but obviously we weren't a great team. We're going to be finishing 4th last this season, a 33-42-7 record. This team was not good, but we did go on a 5-game winning streak right after the trade deadline, so we do have to consider that. Tyler Toffoli is going to be the big performer for our team, picking up 71 points, while Seth Jarvis, he's picking up 68. But what did you do since being acquired? Well, you were pretty good. 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points, over a point a game. You'll love to see that from Seth Jarvis. He's going to be a big-time player for us. Celebrini picked up 61 points, William Eklund 65, and then to cap it all off, we're going to take a quick look at Mason McTavish. What did you do since joining the team? 7 points in 18 games is definitely not good enough here. -1. I need you to play a bigger role on this team. I'm going to need you to play better than that, especially if we want to bring home a Stanley Cup in the future. And then when it comes to goaltending, Vanacek, I mean, you did all right here. 919 to 266 is actually really good. This is way better than what I was expecting. So we might as well look at the scoring across the league here. McDavid 116 points, Sam Reinhart's picking up 113, Jack Hughes 110, JT Miller 109, Zach Hyman 109. So Zach Hyman picking up 109 points, only 7 points less than McDavid. Can't really say the stats are the most realistic in this game, to say the least. 109 points from Zach Hyman. What's going on here? And then when it comes to goaltending, Vasilevsky 47 wins here, 5 shutouts. Sergei Bobrovsky 44 wins, 3 shutouts, 89 overall. So the Bobber's still an elite goaltender here. Stuart Skinner, what's his overall? He's an 86. I think an 86 is a bit high for Stuart Skinner, but that's neither here nor there. But the real question is rookie skaters, who led the way? It's going to be Celebrini, he's picking up 61 points here, 18 goals, 43 assists. Mishkov only picking up 23 points. That's a bit disrespectful. I'm not going to lie. Mishkov should have way more than 23 points, but it's safe to say that Celebrini is going to be taking home the Calder. Unless there was just a really good rookie goaltender, and Dustin Wolf, you were not good enough to be taking home the Calder, so at least Celebrini is going to be taking that home. So for the very first season simulation, who's going to take home the Stanley Cup? It's the Florida Panthers beating the Edmonton Oilers. Honestly, I couldn't think of a more perfect Stanley Cup final for year number 1. So we're going to simulate up to the draft. Obviously, with us being one of the worst teams in the entire league, we're hoping for the first overall pick here. And are we going to have any good luck? It doesn't look like it. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be getting the first overall pick from the Calgary Flames. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks are going to drop from 4 to 6. So it's good to see my good luck's continuing into NHL 25. So one thing that was mentioned in the deep dive trailer is how there's going to be more elite potential players in the draft here. And I want to see if that's a thing. I know for a fact that Michael Meese is going to have medium elite potential. So we're looking at the top 9 all having medium elite potential. That's definitely going to make my 10 and 25 year rebuilds a lot easier. If I can bring in more medium elite potential players, we're going to be building some dynasties. So with the 6th overall pick, we have a couple options. We can go with Eriksson, we can go with Porter Martone, Roger McQueen, Michael Misa, and I think for our first rebuild, we're going to go with Roger McQueen. We're going to go 2 picks off the board here. I mean, this isn't a bad selection by any means. 75 overall Roger McQueen. Plan is he's going to be our second line power forward in the future. Mason McTavish, Celebrini, and Seth Jarvis are going to hold it down that top line. Then we're going to have Roger McQueen, William Eklund, and then we'll pick up another sniper. So the top 6 is going to be looking really good in the future. We just have to wait a couple of years. So I can only assume if we gain more medium elite potential players in the draft, then the second round, third round are going to be slightly better. That's just an assumption I'm making, but you know what? We're going to go with this man right here, projected 35th overall. I don't know what his scouting is, but he's going to have medium top 6 potential, so that was a pretty good selection for us. Now, we only had 4 picks in the draft, so the rest of the draft being the 76th overall and the 100th overall pick weren't as notable as our first 2 selections. So we're entering the re-sign phase, and a handful of players are going to be walking. Cody Cece's walking, Juan Rude is going to be walking, Luke Kunin I might bring you back barring the price, but Klim Kostin, where are we going to be looking at here? I'm looking to offer you a contract. We've already gone to a bit of a negotiation. You want 1.7 for the next 2 years. Let's negotiate that down a little bit. Now, I'm not going to negotiate with every single player, but what are we looking at here? 10K for 1 year. I'm just going to offer this over. I just want to see what happens. Did we really offer this man 10K for 1 year? I guess we're offering him this contract. All right, so that needs to be patched. Yeah, that's interesting. Klim Kostin, 10K for 1 year. Luke Kunin, you're looking for 2.4 for the next 2 years. I really don't want to do that with you, so I think we're going to let you walk here. Smith, are you willing to accept a 2-way contract? You're looking for a 1-way contract. I don't really want to do that for a 79 overall. That's not really going to be getting much better, so I think we're going to let you walk here. Nico Sturm, you're 30 years old. You're not getting any younger, so we're going to let you walk. To finish it all off, I'm just going to go through a bunch of the young players, and if you're willing to accept a 2-way contract, then I'll bring you to the team. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like Klim Kostin's going to be accepting 10K, so yeah, we're going to have to give him a bit more than that. So I think we'll try to do a 3-year deal with Klim Kostin at 1.6 million. I think he'll be willing to accept that. I think that's pretty fair. And he's actually going to be accepting it on the spot. He'll love to see it. When it comes to goaltending, Vanacek, you're the only one I'm really contemplating bringing back here. And where are you going to be looking for? 4.9 million. I'm not going to lie, that's a bit more expensive than I want. Now, I'm really happy I didn't give Vanacek that deal because I'm looking at Aiden Hill right now. 2.8 for the next 6 years. This is the greatest deal I've ever seen. And I'm going to offer you a lot more money just to come to this team. What if I give you 3.3 million for the next 6 seasons? That's almost 500K more than what you're looking for per season. And then on top of that, I'll upgrade your trade protection from 25% to 36%. So basically, we're almost guaranteed to get Aiden Hill here. I'm offering him a contract way better than what he's asking for. So I'm looking at Robbie Fabry, and he would be an interesting player to bring to the team. If we do a 3-year deal, he's asking for 3.3 million. If I do a 4-year deal, he only wants 2.6 million. So how about I do a 4-year deal at 2.8 million? That's going to be a really cheap price for an A3 overall, and you can play some big minutes for us. Drew O'Connor, you'd be a really good bottom 6 piece for us, so I'm willing to give you 3 years at 1.8 million. Actually, let's make that 1.9 million. So that's going to be 150K more than what you're asking for, and I'm not having to give you a no trade clause, which is pretty big. And then the final player I think we're going to try to bring to the team here is going to be Alex Nylander, 1.95 million for the next 3 years. Once again, he's going to be a pretty cheap bottom 6 guy for us. Now, I'm not going to lie, Stick on the Ice looks like a massive clown here, but when I was rebuilding this team in season number 1, there was a handful of guys I thought I was just completely missing. One of them was Will Smith. Now, where is Will Smith? He's here. 82 overall. For some reason, I just never saw this man. I don't know if he was in the AHL. I don't know where Will Smith was. But yeah, he definitely should have been playing minutes for us last season. The other player I completely forgot about because I'm an absolute clown happens to be a goaltender. His name is Askarov, and this man turns into an absolute beast in 99% of simulations in NHL 24, so it probably would have been helpful if I had him playing for us last season. But then again, if he's in the AHL, that's probably better for his progression, so he's not getting peppered every single night. But an Askarov-Aiden Hill tandem, that's definitely going to be a great dynamic duo, so I'm absolutely heartbroken. Aiden Hill, even though I gave you way more than what you were asking for, you're not going to return to this team. You decide you're going to go elsewhere, but honestly, that might not be the end of the world here, because now that I remember Askarov's on this team, I think that actually works out better for us. Mackenzie Blackwood, I'm actually willing to bring you back now. So how about we do a 2-year deal at $1.5 million? That means Mackenzie Blackwood's going to come back to the team, and then we'll find a really cheap goaltender for the AHL. DiPietro, we can do a 1-year deal at $1.1 million. We'll take the cap hit while you're in the AHL. It's not going to affect us too much. Alright, so we have $26 million in cap space. Brad Marchand, you're looking for a full no movement clause, and you're looking for $8.6 million. But how about we do this? I completely take away the clause, so you have no clause at all, and then I give you like $2 million more than what you're asking for. So I'll give you $10 million, but I can trade you to wherever I want. So are you going to be willing to accept this? It's $1.4 million than what you're asking for, but I took away all your clauses. I guess we'll see what happens. I just want to see, like, I'm just curious if I'm going to be able to sign guys when I have a ton of money, but then I take away all their clauses. It doesn't look like it. Brad Marchand's off to the Chicago Blackhawks, so we're going to be missing out on that free agent. Before we get ahead of ourselves, there are a handful of guys that need extensions, and we're going to start with William Eklund. What's he going to be looking for? 9.7 for the next 5 years. How about we do 6 years and we do $9 million? 6 years at $9 million is a pretty good deal for him, and he doesn't have to have a no trade clause yet. So you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. Jake Wallman, you're up to an 85 overall. What are you going to be looking for? 4.9 million. How about we do 4.4 million for the next 5 years? Jake Bean, I'm looking to do something similar with you. Luckily, you're not going to be asking for any clauses, so how about 4.3 million for the next 6 seasons? And then Mario Ferrari will be the final piece we lock down here. Once again, he's not looking for a no trade clause or anything. It's going to be 4.3 for the next 6. So it's pretty interesting. It looks like William Eklund and Jake Wallman are both going to be saying no to our extensions here. And now the problem with William Eklund, he's looking for $11.75 million. I don't want to give him I don't want to give him that type of money. So is there any way I can have you re-sign with the team, but not for that price tag right there? I don't know if it's going to be possible. What if we do 10.2 for the next 6? Like, would you even be willing to consider that? And then Jake Wallman, I'm pretty sure we can get a deal done with you. How about we do 4.6 for the next 5? I'll just give you a bit more than I did last time. So I was so focused on giving William Eklund a massive extension, but maybe we don't need him because Will Smith, after playing 1 season in the AHL, is up to an 88 overall. So that man's going to be a beast on the second line. The top 6 is looking really good here. Tyler Toffoli 89 overall, Celebrini 88, Mason McTavish an 86, then Eklund 85. As we know, Will Smith's an 88, and then Seth Jarvis an 87. The bottom 6 still needs a bit of work here, but you know what? We're headed in the right direction for sure. The defense is looking great. Jake Wallman 85, Jake Bean, he's an 84, Mario Ferraro's an 84. Vlasic, it's going to be his final season on the team. The third pairing needs a bit of work, but hey, at least we're getting a +1 boost. And when it comes to goaltending, Askarov's up to an 87. I feel bad that I completely forgot that man, but it's actually for the best that I forgot him, because since he was in the AHL, he developed like crazy, up to an 87 overall. He's our superstar goaltender. Mackenzie Blackwood's the backup. You never know, we might be making a push for the playoffs. Okay, so I can confirm the simulation is way slower than NHL 24. I played enough NHL 24 to know that simulation basically in the back of my mind. NHL 24 simulation is way faster than this. Okay, so if you're wondering how good the Pacific Division is, the Edmonton Oilers are first. We're going to see the Anaheim Ducks second, Vancouver Canucks third, Winnipeg Jets 4, and then the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be 5. But you might be thinking to yourself, Winnipeg's not in the Pacific Division. Yeah, this is the entire league. We have Edmonton number 1 with 48 wins at the trade deadline, Anaheim 2, Vancouver 3, Vegas 5. So the top 5 teams, 4 of them are coming from the Pacific Division right now. So it's going to be incredibly tough for the San Jose Sharks to make the playoffs. Granted, we're a decent team right now, 13th in the entire league, but we're sitting outside of a playoff spot with a 34, 27, and 3 record. The Nashville Predators are 1 spot ahead of us, and they hold the final wildcard spot in the West. We're 13th in the entire league, and we might not even make the wild card. So Brini's looking great though. He's got 69 points so far, 29 goals, 40 assists. Tyler Toffoli's got 63 points, but he is -2. Seth Jarvis 61 points so far. Will Smith, he's got 58. Mason McTavish is looking not too bad, but I am expecting a bit more out of you. I mean, we'll see how the next couple years go, because we're definitely going to be keeping these guys around. I mean, Tyler Toffoli, you're the lone guy that I might trade away here, but you do have a no trade clause, so that's going to be difficult to get done. William Eklund, you did accept that last contract offer I gave you, but I might trade you away because we don't really need 3 playmakers in our top 6, so I might try to trade you away and get a power forward in the future. We're not going to worry about that right now. The team's showing a lot of potential. potential. Askarov, 26 wins, 2 shots, a 904 and a 295. We can't rush the process here. We could try to make one small move here, but I'm not looking to do too much. So I was talking about how we needed another power forward, and you know who happens to be a power forward? Alex Tuck, and he would actually be a pretty interesting pickup, and it's not going to cost us too much. Bordelot and a second round pick are going to be sent over, and we might be able to get a third round pick back. Like, if we can get a third round pick back in this deal, that would be huge, but I'm going to offer this over. They're saying no because they want that lucrative 7th round pick. The lucrative 7th round pick is going to be saving us once again here. This is going to be a big time deal for us. We're bringing in another power forward. We're definitely setting ourselves up for a lot of success in the future. So Alex Tuck is definitely going to be coming back to the team. No question about it. It's going to be $6.3 million for the next 5 years. He's asking for 6.6, but I'm pretty sure we can lock him down for 6.3. And then when it comes to Alex Wenberg, do I really want to bring him back here? At this price tag, it actually might be worth it. We can do 3.5 for the next 3 years, and then we might even just trade him away next season. We're also going to make another small signing here, which is going to be 1.35 for Shakir for the next 3 years. He's a good third pairing defenseman right now, but he might be taking a bigger role next season. So I got some great news for San Jose Sharks fans. We're back in the postseason here. We're going to be finishing 12th in the entire league, a 45, 33, and 4 record. This team really stepped it up after the trade deadline, and I can't wait for next season. Everyone's going to be even better here. This team's going to be doing some big things. However, this team's going to be doing big things next postseason, because this postseason we're in a lot of trouble. Celbrini's picking up 92 points here, 40 goals, 52 assists. Tyler Toffoli, 83 points. Will Smith's picking up 78 in his rookie campaign. He's looking amazing, up to a 90 overall already. No, that's ridiculous. Seth Jarvis is picking up 75 points. No X factors for him yet. Honestly, a bit disrespectful. Mason McTavish, 67 overall. He's got no X factors either. But don't worry, Alex Tuck's got 2 X factors. And since joining the team, 15 points in 18 games. He was plus 12. It looks like that second line finally figured it out. So we don't have the biggest expectations heading into the postseason. Askarov, 36 wins, 3 shots, a 908 and a 286. But I am hoping this team's going to be somewhat competitive. But it's going to be very difficult to be competitive. You know why? We have to take on the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. They're the best team in the entire league by far. They had 48 wins at the trade deadline. This is not going to be easy. So this is the first time we've made the postseason in NHL 25. And what's my prediction? We're going to get swept. I can see it coming now. The Edmonton Oilers are going to sweep us in our very first postseason. Okay, are we going to simulate game number 1 here? Is game number 1 ever going to simulate? All right, we lost 4-1. All right, game number 2, what's going to happen? Okay, this is so incredibly slow. We've won back-to-back games, though. What's going to happen in game number 4? We have to wait and see. Okay, this is very, very slow. So yeah, hopefully they can patch that, because this simulation is so incredibly slow. I don't know why it's so slow now. We're moving on to game number 5. What's going to happen here? We're winning that one 3-1. We have game 6 elimination for the Edmonton Oilers. Can we complete the massive upset here? What's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. We're losing 3-1. We're off to game 7. No, but that simulation's a bit ridiculous, I'm not going to lie. So here we go. Game 7 between the San Jose Sharks and Edmonton Oilers. The first period is going to allow us to pick up 2 straight goals here. In the second, though, it's going to be a massive collapse. Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Connor McDavid. Luckily, Alex Tuck's going to keep us in this game. It's a tie game entering the third period. Most goals in the third period is going to decide this one. And in the third period, it's going to be 3 unanswered from the Edmonton Oilers. Am I surprised at this? Not really. The Edmonton Oilers were clearly the better team, but we did force them to 7 games. So that's a great sign for the future of this team. A lot of the young guys are going to keep on getting better. We'll be in a great spot. So we might have lost in the postseason to the Edmonton Oilers, but at least we took them to 7 games. We're proving that we can really compete with the best in the entire league. Edmonton might have fallen in the conference finals to the eventual champs in the Winnipeg Jets, but the San Jose Sharks are showing a lot of promise here. I believe in what we're building. When it comes to the postseason scores for this team, Mason McTavish is picking up 7 points. Good to see he stepped up. He's got 3 X factors up to an 88 overall. That's amazing. Tyler Toffoli, 87 overall. Macklin Celebrini, he's got a superstar X factor, 93 overall. Alex Tuck, what's he going to be up to? 87 overall. Seth Jarvis, has he seen any X factors? He's not, but he is up to an 88 overall, so that's great for him. Will Smith, what are you going to be looking like? You got a superstar X factor, 91 overall. Yeah, this team's taking over the league next season. William Eklund, you're up to an 87, but as I mentioned, I don't think we're going to need you on this team. We're going to make some moves heading into next season, that's for sure. I should also highlight Askarov's numbers. Like, that man was locked in the postseason. 87 overall. He's got an X factor, 3 wins, 0 shots, a 913, a 308. Honestly, aren't that bad considering we went against that Edmonton Oilers team. They were stacked. We didn't deserve to beat them. So Askarov, you certainly held up your end of the bargain. So I think the plan heading into next season is trading William Eklund for a superstar defenseman, and I think that will be the difference maker for us. So I'm not too sure what our scouts were up to this season, because clearly they weren't scouting anyone. Like, this team did 0 scouting whatsoever, so I think we're just going to go with the best available player here. We have no scouting on this guy right here. Hopefully he has medium top 6 potential or something. I'll take medium top 4. core. So I don't think we're going to be bringing back any of these guys here. Vlasic's going to be leaving. Benning's going to be leaving. I mean, Ty Dellandrea, I wouldn't mind bringing you back here. Where are you going to be looking for, though? 1.7 for the next 3 years. How about we do 1.55 for the next 3? So that's the max I'm going to give Dellandrea. And honestly, I think Ty Dellandrea might be the only player I'm looking at bringing back here. It looks like he's going to be accepting that offer, so that's a big win for the team. Everyone else, though, they can walk. I mean, DiPietro, I guess I can bring you back on a 2-way contract just to play in the AHL. Why not? So there's 2 main players that need contract extensions right now. The first being Celebrini. And of course, I'm going to lock him down to a great price here. It's going to be $9.9 million for the next 7 seasons. He's one of the key pieces of this team. Of course, they have to keep him around. And another key piece of the team, Askarov. And we're going to be keeping him around. This is going to be another easy deal to get done. It's going to be $5.8 million for the next 3 seasons. But now that we've given out those extensions, let's make some trades. So when it comes to our defense, the left side looks amazing, but the right side is a bit weak here. So in order to improve that right side, I think we bring in David Jiricek, 87 overall. He's got an X factor already at 22 years old. He's also on a really reasonable contract, $4.9 million for the next 5 seasons. We're going to trade William Eklund over, but I think we might be able to get a 3rd round pick as well. William Eklund, as I've mentioned a million times, he doesn't really fit on the team anymore. Like, I don't want to be paying him $10 million to be a bottom 6 guy for us. So Jiricek, you're going to be joining the team as well as a 3rd round pick. Maybe we're not going to get the 3rd round pick, but we certainly should be able to go 1 for 1. Maybe not. The fact that I have to go up draft capital is a bit wild. But you know what? I'm willing to trade draft picks. And what draft picks am I willing to trade? Well, a 4th and 7th round pick, because the 7th round pick always makes the difference. So when I signed Wenberg, I said I was going to trade him away, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Wenberg's off to the Montreal Canadiens. We're getting Harvey Pinard, and we're also going to be getting 2 3rd round picks in this deal. The 3rd rounders I don't really care about that much, so how about I take one of the 3rd rounders out and we just get 1 in this deal? That's perfectly fine with me. So Askarov's going to be rejecting that last deal, so we're going to have to pay him a bit more here. It's going to cost us like another $1 million. It's going to be $7.5 million for the next 3 years. But even if I have to pay him more than what I was originally willing to pay him, it's not the end of the world. So the team's taking some big strides heading into this season. 93 overall Celebrini, 88 overall Mason McTavish, 87 overall Tyler Toffoli, Seth Jarvis, Will Smith, and Alex Tucker going to hold it down the second line. The top 6 is looking amazing. Our bottom 6 has a lot more depth now. We have a lot of guys playing the role here, so we're going to be in a great spot, especially when the defense looks like this. Mario Ferraro, David Jiricek, Jake Bean, Jake Wallman, and then of course Sam Dixon's going to be jumping into the lineup here. He might not be the superstar defenseman yet, but wait until this guy progresses. Then when it comes to goaltending, Askarov's up to an 88 overall. We're going to be one of the best teams in the league. There's no question about it. But can we get past the Edmonton Oilers? Because that team continues to dominate the league. So the San Jose Sharks are officially here, 6th in the entire league at the trade deadline, a 37-19-7 record. The team's absolutely flying. One of the best defenses in the entire league. The offense is looking pretty good, but it could be better. The defense is what's really been showing out for us. So if we can make our offense even better, this team's going to be unstoppable. Celebrini, 62 points. Will Smith, 56. Tyler Toffoli, 53. Alex Tuck, 52. The offense is absolutely flying here. You'll love to see it, but we got to get the bottom 6 flying a bit more because the defense is doing their thing. Askarov, 29 wins, 1 shutout, a 916, a 266. He's been fantastic so far, but as I've mentioned, we got to make some small upgrades. So I think this could be the missing piece for us. It's going to be Quentin Musty over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're bringing in Caden Lindstrom. They both might have medium league potential, but Caden Lindstrom has medium league potential and he's an 86 overall. So if we can bring an 86 overall to our bottom 6, we're going to be unstoppable. I'm going to offer this 1 for 1. They're going to be saying no, but it's not going to cost us too much more than that. So I'll include a 3rd round pick into this deal, and that should be enough to bring Caden Lindstrom to the team. They're going to be saying no to that. Do you want 2 3rd round picks? Because I'm definitely willing to give up 2 3rd round picks here. Caden Lindstrom, welcome to the team. What else is it going to cost? I mean, we do have a good defensive prospect I just drafted, and I could throw him into this deal, and then this should be enough to make the difference. So all of this over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Caden Lindstrom, welcome to the team. So to finish out the season, the San Jose Sharks continue to look pretty solid, finishing with a 46-25-11 record. We're going to be 6th in the entire league here, but the Edmonton Oilers just continue to be different. A 59-22-1 record. That team's going to be real tough to beat. And what makes it even more difficult is we're going to have to go through them at some point. Like, they're in the Western Conference. If San Jose wants to win, they got to beat the best. Celebrini, 79 points, took a bit of a step back. Seth Jarvis, 70 points. Will Smith, 68. Offensively, we took a pretty big step back, but you know what? But the defense stepped up, and that's what we need here. Askarov, 37 wins, 2 shots, a 913 and 273. If we want to win a Stanley Cup, this guy's going to have to continue to look great. And speaking of the Stanley Cup, it's time to move into the postseason. We have the Vancouver Canucks up first. Now, I got big expectations for the San Jose Sharks, and we are not living up to those expectations, facing a 3-0 deficit. Luckily, we're going to be winning game number 4 here, but we got to mount a massive comeback. Like, not only has the offense not been good, but the defense hasn't been good either. The one thing we're known for, which is good defense, hasn't shown up here. here. We have a 1-goal lead entering the third period. Are we going to be able to hold it down here? Seth Jarvis is going to be picking up a big goal, and we're going to be staying alive in this series. So we're moving into game number 6 here. We have to win 4 straight if we're looking to win a Stanley Cup here. We're going to be allowing a goal in the first period, but in the second, we're going to be responding a big Mason McTavish goal. It's a tie game entering the third period. Who's going to show up when it matters most here? Seth Jarvis is going to show up. Hronik's going to show up, but that's not going to be good enough here. We're going to need overtime to settle this one. And in overtime, Seth Jarvis continues to be the big time player for us. He's picking up another goal, and we're off to game 7. So the boys were down 3-0 in the series at one point, but here we are in game number 7, the most important game. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. In the second, it looks like Vancouver's going to be tying this one up. Mario Ferraro is going to pick up a big time goal though, so we have a tie game entering the third period. Who's going to show up in the most important minutes? It looks like it's going to be Seth Jarvis and Mario Ferraro once again here. A 3-0 series comebacks allowing us to advance to the second round. It only took till playoff appearance number 2 for us to see a 3-0 series comeback. One of the rarest feats in the NHL, and it's happening in postseason appearance number 2. So we made a massive comeback, meaning we're on a 4-game winning streak. We know who else is on a 4-game winning streak. The Edmonton Oilers, the team we have to take on in the second round. If we beat Edmonton in the second round, we're definitely going to be taking home a Stanley Cup. So we've advanced to the second round here, and this is going to be our toughest matchup by far. Edmonton's picking up 5 goals in game number 1. In game number 2, we are going to be responding. Can we win game 3 here? That's really unfortunate. At least we've split the series though, so it's down to a best of 3. We have to win game number 5 here. I don't want to be facing elimination in game number 6, but why would we ever win game number 5? So we got game 6 elimination. It's going to be a tough match for the San Jose Sharks, but I know this team can show up. So San Jose, they've been great in elimination games so far, but can they be great once again here? Celebrini and Seth Jarvis are both picking up goals. Of course, Zach Hyman's going to have to score one for the Edmonton Oilers. As long as we hold it down in the third period, we are going to be advancing to game 7. And are we going to be doing that? Yes, we are. Will Smith's picking up 2 massive goals here. We got game 7 elimination once again. So we're back in game 7 against the Edmonton Oilers. Last time these two teams matched up in game 7, Edmonton came out on top. But you know what? San Jose has been a lead in elimination games so far, so I'm hoping that continues here. We're exchanging goals in the second period. It's going to be another massive third period. Who's going to show up in the most important game? It's going to be both teams. We're going to be exchanging goals once again here. Ekholm scoring with 1 minute left in the game. We need overtime to settle this one, and in overtime, I already know Seth Jarvis is going to show up when it matters. Never mind, it's not going to be Seth Jarvis. Mason McTavish picking up the OT winner. This team's off to the conference finals. We beat the Edmonton Oilers. We can beat anyone. Now, we've been involved in 14 playoff games so far, but in the 2 game 7s we've had to play, we've showed up in both of them. Now we're in the conference finals. We have to be perfect from here on out. No more game 7s. We can't go to game 7 in every single series. Now, we beat the Edmonton Oilers, so I have a lot of confidence in this San Jose Sharks team. We're winning game number 1. We're winning game 3, but we're dropping 2 and 4. So game 5, do not lose. Do not lose game number 5 here. We're actually going to be winning game 5 for a change. Can we win game 6 and make it to the Stanley Cup final? Yes, we can. And who do we get to take on? The Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins of all teams. It's the young versus the old here. We're dropping game number 1, but it's okay because we're responding in games 3 and games 4. It's a tie series right now. Is it going to be possible for us to steal game number 5 away? Yes, it is. Can we shut the Pittsburgh Penguins down in game 6 and finish this video off with a Stanley Cup? Yes, we can. The San Jose Sharks rebuild's complete here. We won them a Stanley Cup. It only took 3 seasons with the San Jose Sharks core. Now, originally I was going to do a 5-year rebuild with the San Jose Sharks, but I think this is the perfect way to finish it off here. We made a 3-0 series comeback against the Vancouver Canucks. We had to go to game 7 and we showed up when it mattered most. We went to game 7 against the Edmonton Oilers, made a 3-2 series comeback, won in overtime in game number 7. Then we proceeded to take out the Colorado Avalanche in 6 games, the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. Mac and Celebrini led the way, and now the San Jose Sharks are on top of the world, Stanley Cup champions. Never would have thought it would be this quick. So this was a massive postseason across the board from everyone. Seth Jarvis, 14 goals, 17 assists for 31 points. He's a big time performer. Mac and Celebrini, 9 goals, 22 assists, 31 points as well. Mason McTavish is picking up 10 goals, and he had some big game winners, that's for sure. David Jiricek, he was the big difference maker when it came to the defense. Tyler Toffoli, who thought you would be winning a Stanley Cup in your tenure with the San Jose Sharks? People would have thought that would have been impossible. Caden Lindstrom picking up 12 goals and 9 assists. He picked up some big goals for us. And then when it comes to goaltending, Ashcroft, you're the man. Of course, the big time goaltender for the San Jose Sharks. 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 912 and a 279. So rebuild number 1 is going to be complete here. We won a Stanley Cup with the San Jose Sharks in year number 3. I was expecting this to be a 5-year rebuild. That's originally why I planned it to be a 5-year rebuild. But you know what? This team exceeded expectations in year 2, and they exceeded expectations in year 3. And here we are, Stanley Cup champs. Who would have thought?